This is a secret forgive. This big, it's like fire and ice. It's still my choice to make that decision whether wrong or right. No people say a big mistake. Me must get my little heartbreak. Mr. Wrong, tell me how you love me so right. Mr. Wrong, how you make my smile so bright. Mr. Wrong, tell me how you love me so right. Mr. Wrong, you know for coming down, even when we just don't fight. My friends used to say you never right for me. It's too toxic and you was life for me. But me tell them say me need my privacy. Them say you're wrong but you have the right twice for me. Him have the right type of love with me, I feel that. Them say me hook like a failure, me need that. Now what you talking, so nobody pray that. So me no matter about the negative feedback. Mr. Wrong, tell me how you love me so right. Mr. Wrong, how you make my smile so bright. Mr. Wrong, tell me how you love me so right. Mr. Wrong, you know for coming down, even when we just don't fight. Oh, you're bad so, cause you but me still want to see you. Tell you some me done, but as you touch me, me give you. How me fit turn down the week in a Rio. The man I criticize, now want me you. You no pull out chair, you no open door. Your man has one work, man, me know for sure. Communication skills, it's really poor. You have me stressed, but me still want more. Mr. Wrong, tell me how you love me so right. Mr. Wrong, how you make my smile so bright. Mr. Wrong, tell me how you love me so right. Mr. Wrong, you know for coming down, even when we just don't fight. If loving you is wrong, I don't wanna be right. There ain't no perfect relationship, we gotta have compromise. When everyone is breaking up and shaking up, we got something that's saving us. We got a funny kind of love, but it's just enough. Mr. Wrong, tell me how you love me so right. Mr. Wrong, how you make my smile so bright. Mr. Wrong, tell me how you love me so right. Mr. Wrong, you know for coming down, even when we just don't fight.
You're listening to Elevations Radio, your station for uplifting lifestyle and wellness talk radio.
Views expressed on shows are those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its management, or other advertisers. Use of these shows and all services provided therein are for personal use only. The Elevations Radio Network holds no responsibility for the validity or accuracy of information on these shows.
Hey, you're listening to The Queen's Journey here on elevationsradio.com, and I am your host, Sade Carlissa, the sexy magician and spiritual alchemist, the owner of Victory by Choice, and the creator of the Journey to Queendom Women's Empowerment Conference. Today, we have a show for you. Has the cosmos got you in your feelings? I would say yes, based on the number of people who have reached out to me on Facebook, text message, DMs. Everybody is feeling some kind of way about something. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about what's been going on this past week, what's been going on energetically. And hopefully you guys can vibe with me because you're not alone. I've been in my feelings too. So I'll share a little bit about that. On Friday, we had the lunar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius. And most of you are familiar with a lunar eclipse. It's kind of when the sun and the moon meets each other at the same point, and the moon actually kind of blocks out the sun. And a lot of times when eclipse happens, there's usually an ending of a chapter. We're talking about now, when it comes to full moons anyway, that's already closure, an ending, a completion. But an eclipse is like a whole new era of life. So to give you guys kind of a reference point, this is August of 2018. If you think back to August of 2017, which was just a year ago, you'll think about a number of couples that you knew that were married together, potentially happy on social media, whatever the case. And then all of a sudden they were divorced, like out of nowhere. Or you found out that couples that had been together since they were teenagers were getting divorced. Couples that had been together for years, the ideal sweethearts. It just seemed like out of nowhere, people were breaking up left and right. This wasn't a coincidence. It was actually a kind of a foresight for this era. So this past year, for a lot of people, have been a little bit difficult in how they have seen their relationships, how they view themselves, how their financial situation has changed, how they've actually showed up in their business, what's happened in their business. And this is not always in a negative way. Some people have really, truly blown up. So you've either, shown up and shown out with your business. You're now marketing in new arenas. You now have new audiences. You have grown. You have changed your branding. You have redispositioned who you are, how you show up, how you project yourself to the world. And then there's that area of the other. So there's that area of relationships where now you want something different in love. Now you require something different in how you love. You're loving yourself differently. So a lot of these things has changed over the past year. And so now in this new eclipse season, there's a lot of heaviness, some depression that comes into now what do I do? What am I supposed to do? Why is everything not working out for me? There's a woe is me kind of feeling in some areas. There's even a heaviness that are falling into relationships. Why is this person not loving me the way that they're supposed to? I don't feel like this is fair. There's not balance here. I think I'm doing too much. I think I don't think they care about me the way I care about them. I don't feel like this is just. I think I'm being abused. I think I'm being manipulated. You're starting to realize things that you weren't able to see comfortably before. And the eclipse is going to bring light to a lot of things, and it's going to bring it to some major endings, some major closures, where a year from now, I won't even say a year, but maybe 6 months from now, your life might not look anything the way that it did 6 months ago. You also, because August is going to be this new poppin', loving, vivacious, creative, passionate month, a lot of you are going to be falling into some new beautiful things. Careers will be popping, love will be popping, how you're feeling about yourself. People are going to be checking for you, looking for you. You're going to be looking good, feeling good, because it's that time where you are finally coming out of this year eclipse cycle of what is going on with me. Now, the eclipse was in the sign of Aquarius in the moon. So the lunar portion of it, which would be the moon, was in Aquarius. The sun, as you guys know, we are in Leo season. Shout out to all my Leos out there. Happy birthday. I hope you're feeling good. You're looking good. Keep your crowns on. Y'all know I'm feeling y'all because I'm a Leo too. So for all of the people out there, you understand that the sun is in the sign of Leo, the moon is in the sign of Aquarius. And so these are two very major dynamic energies. So when you have the sun in the sign of Leo, we are all kind of in this energy of really showing up for ourselves, feeling confident, sharing our gifts, our creativity. We're passionate. We're thinking about new romance and life. We're feeling a little bit more sexy and playful. We're focusing on our children. We're focusing on our businesses. We're focusing on new growth. Leo is actually ruled by the sun. So we are really figuring out where our power is, how we shine, and how we show up in the world. Now, being eclipsed by the sign of Aquarius, which is an air sign, which is very logical, but is a very expansive sign. Aquarius allows you to see the big picture. Aquarius allows you to see how all of humanity flows together. Aquarius allows you to see how parts and pieces are put together to make the whole function in a logical and also almost a I want to say an organic type of way where all of our consciousness flow together, where all humanity flow together, where man and animal and creation all kind of combined and get to the same space on the same accord. Aquarius has the gift of seeing foresight into the future. Aquarius has the gift of also making that mind power so strong that it doesn't really connect always to the emotional self. Well, Leo is ruled by the heart. So we are looking at two polar opposite energies. Leo is also a childish kind of energy. At the pure innocence of Leo, they are loving and generous and passionate, while Aquarius is very kind of strategic. They could be very leadership focused, but also about how do we do this for the collective. Aquarius has this ability where while Leo's all about love, Aquarius is all about how do I make everyone feel equal and great at the same time. And Leo's the energy of how do I show everybody that I'm great. So it's a conflict there because Aquarius doesn't have the ability to personalize their love. The way that Aquarius love is in a networking space. Aquarius is also the energy of the friends of the friends. How do I grow and expand the people that I know and what I'm connected to? How do I grow and expand my community? How do I grow and expand these projects that I'm working on to connect to the next person, the next woman, and the next thing like that? So in this energy, these are two major energies that make us feel like, how do I show up for me while also being the person that I need to be for everyone else? How do I show up for me and feel good and feel amazing and cultivate this beautiful essence of who God created me to be while also paying attention to how humanity needs me to show up in the world? So this will fall into the area of relationships as well, because when you're loving on a partner who no longer can see you for you, value for you, or actually appreciate who you are, because that's what you're starting to feel. You're starting to rise up and feel like, well, this is what I'm worth, and this is what I'm supposed to have, and this is what I deserve. I deserve to be loved like this. I deserve to be appreciated like this. I deserve to have my reverence. I deserve to be paid this in my work. So now you're running up against different areas in your life when you're actually testing the other party to say, don't you see me and what I'm worth? But the flip side of it, and on the lower end of it, is that you question that yourself. And that's what makes things a little complicated in this energy. That's what will have you in your feelings. It'll be thinking about everything that happened in this past year, the relationships that ended, the jobs that we didn't get, the recognition that we didn't have, the people that weren't there, the people that didn't support us, the promotions that we didn't receive. And we're thinking about, why didn't that happen? Why wasn't that for me? Why wasn't it my time? Why didn't he love me the way that I loved him? Why didn't she love me the way that I love her? Why was I treated that way? Why was I mistreated? This is the time in which you're feeling all of that right now. And the reason why this has to be felt is because now it's time to say goodbye to those old hurts. A lot of you may know that Mercury is in retrograde in the sign of Leo. So this is also a good time for, if you have relationships that have ended, and you realize that maybe that they ended for the wrong reasons, or you realize that maybe they ended because you were in a good space, or maybe they ended because you were giving your energy and time to partners that weren't loving you properly, or maybe they ended because you couldn't see what you were worth, or maybe they ended because you really did take for granted who you were dealing with or how you wanted to treat them. This is a time and an energy where those love opportunities, those relationships can be rebuilt and restored. See, Leo's also a very forgiving energy. And by Leo being the sign that Mercury is in retrograde, there is going to be a lot of healing of the heart, because Leo also rules the heart. A lot of times when we talk about Mercury retrograde, we talk about the things we should do and shouldn't do. And so, yes, it is still a Mercury retrograde. We still should be careful about the things that we are doing with our electronics. Like if you have a big project that you are building online, please save. Jesus saves. You know what I'm saying? Save. OK, you got to make sure that you have not only one copy, but a backup copy. when you are preparing to do something, as far as a presentation or to roll out a new project, make sure you check the fine print. I don't recommend you sign any contracts during a Mercury retrograde, because months later you could discover that there was something in there that hindered you when you signed that contract. And it might not be something that you are aware of now. It might be something that you just may not have paid attention to. You have to pay attention during a Mercury retrograde. What it's asking you to do is to slow down so that you can grow. It's asking you to slow down and pay attention to what's happening so that you can move forward. It's asking you to slow down the thought process so you can see how God is trying to work in your life. I know that Mercury retrograde for most people is very frustrating. OMG, I know, especially since we rely on electronics and our technology for almost everything. Like, I can't even wake up in the morning if my alarm on my phone don't go off. So it is frustrating when you're in the middle of a conversation, your phone just turns off, or your computer just shuts down, or something just locks you out, or you're in the middle of a great productive day and then the computer slows down and you cannot get things done. Yes, it is frustrating, but it's one of those things where you have to take a step back and say, you know what? I ain't gonna let you take my joy. I'm not gonna let you take my joy, devil. Not today. I'm not going to let you mess that up. I know that Mercury is in retrograde, so that means I need to slow down and appreciate what it is I need to do. That's okay. So these are the things that you want to look at. These are the things that you want to focus on when Mercury is in retrograde. It does allow past loves, past relationships to come back into your life. Now, in any instance, everybody's situation and circumstance is different. That's going to be up to you whether you take that situation back. It may also allow you to see old flings and people you used to date that makes you recognize how little you cared for yourself when you were dating that individual. It's going to be a lot of reality checks because God needs you to pay attention to what it is that you're thinking in your relationships and how you communicate with the people around you so that when you move forward, when Mercury goes direct, that you're going in forward motion without carrying the extra baggage that no longer serves you. It can be difficult because it's unique, but Mercury retrograde in Leo can also remind you of childhood hurts. Now, this is another reason why a number of people may be in their feelings without understanding what's going on. So to have the heaviness of the eclipse, which is definitely going to end chapters in your life, I am so sorry. Relationships may end, but they're only ending because you have new things coming, new love coming, new job opportunities coming, new homes coming. You have new things that are going to be put in place. A lot of people have gone through it just really chaotic situations that feel like it for all my fixed signs. So my fixed signs are Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, and Aquarius. You guys have maybe felt like you've been on edge, angry, testy, don't even want to be around friends and family because it seemed like every time you get around somebody say something stupid or they trigger you or they're making you feel some kind of way. And that's a real thing. You're kind of frustrated because you're being forced to change in this energy. This energy is forcing you to stop doing the same things you've been doing. This is energy that's forcing you to see things differently than you've seen it before. It's time to change. And I know that for my fixed sign, change is not easy. It's not something we want to do. We get stuck in our ways. We are stuck to who we are. We can be very stubborn. We don't like to shift. We like to do things the way that we like to do it, and we do it best that way. But this is the time to see that your life is now ready to take shift into a whole new direction. You will have to let go of the situations and circumstances that do not serve your best interest. This is also a time where you're going to be forced to look at your common sense factor. Some people are at jobs that are stagnant. Some people are in relationships that haven't served you for years. And you keep ignoring the fact that it's not been good for you. You keep ignoring the fact that maybe he's never going to leave his wife. You keep ignoring the fact that maybe he's never going to actually get a job. You keep ignoring the fact that the last time he hit you wasn't the last time he hit you. These are things that you need to understand that has to change in your life. And God is just saying, come on now. What more should I do? What more can I tell you? These are not things that you guys are unaware of. They're just uncomfortable. And one thing that I encourage you to do, if you have individuals in your life that you trust, that you love, please talk about it. You're not the only one going through it. You're not the only one in your feelings. You're not the only one going through these emotional changes and shifts. This is a humanity change. This isn't just you. This is a whole new era of life that we're shifting into. We're saying a goodbye to a lot of the old ways and theologies and beliefs that we used to be in that will no longer be able to stay present in where we're going. It's tough. It's not easy. Some of you may also know that Mars is in retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. This eclipse is major. You guys, this is a situation where whatever your spiritual, religious practices, you need to go to God. This is going to put you on your knees one way or another, because it's going to make you feel like, I can't do this anymore. I don't understand why I am feeling so much anxiety. I don't understand why I am repeating the same cycles over and over again. It's because it's time to end it, but you need to put that baby to rest. Let it go. For the last time. This is not a seasonal cycle anymore. This is the end of the book, not the end of a chapter. We're going into a whole new phase. Now, this is going to affect everybody's energy a little bit differently. So in order for you to understand what's going on with you, you may want to go ahead and get a birth chart reading. You could holler at your girl, send me a DM, or you could go online, Cafe Astrology, look up your whole chart there, figure out where your moon sign is, figure out where these things are happening within your 12 houses. If you know what time you're born, it's going to affect everyone differently. And that's okay. You may actually have a partner who this is hitting very, very, very hard, because they're being forced to look at themselves and deal with issues that they were not willing to deal with for so long. And now they're having to face it in such a detrimental way that there's no way to avoid it any longer. A lot of the things that we're closing out now started a year ago. Things that we've seen, businesses that were being built. And just because things seem very intense doesn't mean that they're always bad. Sometimes that intensity comes with the excitement of, oh my God, I never even imagined things could be like this. I never even imagined that these could feel like this. In one of the other shows, I mentioned that, okay, so we have fixed signs, we have mutable signs, and we have cardinal signs. So the cardinal signs are going to be Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So these signs, now these are individuals who are definitely doing well. Especially on the surface. On the surface, they are functioning, they are pushing through, they are going to the next level. But behind the scenes, they are literally pulling their hair out with anxiety, scared, not really knowing what's going to happen next, not being 100% certain about their qualifications and their ability to pull this off, not understanding if they could keep everything together. So they're literally like the duck on the water, where their feet is going crazy underwater and they sitting on the top floating like ain't nothing happening, letting the sweat just roll off them feathers like it's nothing. Give these individuals a hug. They are holding it together and holding it down because they have to. They're doing everything in their power to make sure that these wheels on this train keep moving. They are not stopping. They are moving forward, and they don't even feel like they have the room to breathe. That is a very anxious way to be at this time. And it's in all areas. They're wondering about their finances. They're wondering about love. They're wondering about their household. They're wondering about how they're maintaining their relationships if they have it. They're wondering about their friends. They're wondering about their business. Yet they keep going. They don't even feel like there's time to stop. They don't feel like it's time to breathe. They don't feel like it's time to actually take a break because they got to keep going. There's this internal fear. If I don't keep going, I won't make it. It's not real. Again, fear is false evidence appearing real. Take time to breathe. You can make it regardless. You have this. You got to trust your ability to actually excel in the areas that you know that you are so competent and proficient in. These are not gifts that are by chance. These are things you have worked for like crazy. Don't second guess yourself, because these are things that you know you can do. So don't act like you can't. Have faith and be proud of the works that you are putting out into this world at this time, because you deserve it. Don't worry about somebody going behind the curtain. You're fine. You have it going on. You got it all together. Now you need to take some time to breathe and recognize what it is that you have achieved this far. For my fixed signs, it's okay to step away, especially for my Leos out there. It's Leo season. We don't know how not to be the life of the party during Leo season. We don't know how not to be seen and celebrate. And it's our time. Okay, so, but it's one of those times where things can get very hectic if you're not being realistic about how you're feeling. This is not just Leo sun signs. If you have a Leo rising sign, if you have a Leo moon sign, you're going to feel this energy just the same. You're going to feel the intensity. You're going to feel the stress. You're going to feel like you're being pulled in every direction and no one's being considerate of what it is that you need or want at this time. You need to take the time to step back and actually evaluate what's going on with you. Stop, pause, remove yourself. Don't put extra weight on you to carry just so you could talk about all the weight that you have to carry. Step back, relax, figure out what it is that you want and know that you have the ability to obtain it. Also know that you deserve it. Leo, y'all got some insecurity issues that I don't even want to touch on for real. If someone is not giving you praise in the appropriate way, immediately you disqualify everything that you are because someone else hasn't given you that validation. That's asinine. Know how to respect and love yourself. For my Scorpios out there, I'm just sorry in advance for a number of y'all because this is a time period where you being dark and mysterious ain't really the thing. People are starting to see that you don't have it all together. People are starting to see that maybe you ain't as ahead of the game as you try to appear. People are starting to see the things that you've wanted to hide because they're starting to see your hurt. They're starting to see how your pain is playing out. They're starting to see your manipulation. This is not like Scorpio. This is not good for Scorpio. Scorpio's power lies in their mystery. I need y'all to take a back seat for a little bit. Reevaluate. See what's going on with you. See what needs to be addressed. See what needs to be fixed. See what needs to be acknowledged within yourself. Don't let people call you out on anything. That's not even a thing that Scorpio has to go through. You need to get on a one-on-one with you so you could call yourself out and then address it accordingly. Y'all know I got mad love for Scorpios. Y'all are the most powerful of the 12 signs because what you do is transform. You guys are the phoenix. You are life and death. And right now, people are seeing you dying and the life is questionable. Get it together. When it comes to Aquarius, now these individuals are just amazing, very, I want to say, intelligent and talented individuals who connect to anyone and anything, anywhere. And you guys have this ability to make everybody feel included, and everybody knows who to go to when it's you involved. They know that you got it taken care of. They know that you're ahead of the game. They know that you didn't already strategically planned out where, when, and how it's supposed to be. And they know that you're the authentic individual who's going to do it your way and no other way, and that you're going to make sure you stick to what's true to you and nothing else. But you got to understand, when it's too much, it's too much. And when you got everybody from every angle asking you to do something, and yet you can't actually see your strengths and your qualities on your own, you're out of your element. You know how talented you are. You know how intelligent you are. You know that you can work anything from the inside out because you had the foresight to see how the thing was built and how it began and how it started. And you know how to connect to people. It's unfortunate that sometimes you can get very, very, very lonely, because your love is for humanity. It's not on a personal one-on-one. It gets real complicated when people want something just from you, when you have to give you to everyone. It's hard to juggle carrying everybody on your shoulders. It's hard to juggle the idea of hurting people that you care about just because they want the one thing that you can't give to them, which is personalized love. You are not allowed to individualize your love. You are meant to love in masses. I know that sounds kind of complicated, but it's the truth. Yet you still require someone to love you in that personal way. It can get complicated. But you need to take time for yourself. You need to take time to evaluate, how is it that you're loving at this time? What have you required from another that you're not actually willing to give? Now, this falls in a very personal space from you. This is your moon sign. So this is your internal self. You're actually starting to evaluate, how am I feeling about me? How am I feeling about my gifts? How am I feeling about how I perform for my family and friends? That's a major thing. Again, look at your charts. If you have Aquarius in your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign, these are going to affect you. These are things that are going to make you feel like stuff is changing in your life. This lunar eclipse closed doors. This lunar eclipse also was the closing door so you can go on to the next level of your life. You got to be ready for that. And that might mean pulling back from all of those networks and entertainments and groups and everything so that you can figure out where it is that you need to go and how you need to be served and what kind of equipment and tools you need to bring with you in order to move into that next step, because you are magnificent. You're magnificent. That's why everybody calls on you to do everything for them. Recognize who you are. Take a step back so that you can show up the way that people know you to show up. And then there's Taurus. My homies. Okay, so I had to laugh because I'm a Taurus moon person, and oh, my poor Taurus. This one is complicated. The reason why I say that is because we have Uranus in the sign of Taurus too. So Taurus, your whole world is changing, and you couldn't be more upset if your whole life depended on it. So, like, here's the thing. Things around you are shifting, and Taurus is slow to move in general. Taurus gets comfortable. Taurus likes things to look good, feel good, smell good. And Taurus likes stability. So when you're a Taurus person, the idea of the family changing, the idea of coupling changing, the idea of your money changing is almost like catastrophic for real. It feels so unreal, so unwelcoming, so unloving. It also is scary. It feels for you like it's unnecessary. But this is a time period where, Taurus, I want you to really sit back like you are good at doing. I need you to lay up, get comfortable, put your feet up, relax, and then think about how much better things could be if they change. I know you don't like the word change, so let's use another word. Think about how much better things could be if they shifted in a way that was more desirable for you. So for Taurus people, I also need you to let go of the baggage that you've been holding on to, the resentment that you've been holding on to, the things that, and I'm not going to say that Taurus holds grudges or anything like that. I think that's crazy. I wouldn't say that. But I'm saying that if there's anything that's been happening in your romantic life, in your mental and emotional life, in your spiritual life, that doesn't feel like it's helping you to have the joy, abundance, and prosperity that you know you want to have, I need you to actually be okay with that leaving your life. I know you're used to it. I know it's comfortable. I know it's familiar. I know that once upon a time, it feels good. I know you even keep telling yourself that, oh, I remember when he or she used to do this, that, and the thing, and he was so sweet. That was then. That wasn't now. And it's time to focus on now. Because now God is trying to shift you into this new era of your life so that you can see actually how amazing life can be if you take the time to explore it authentically, without fear, without holding on to what used to be, but being open to what can be. Be open to it. Explore it. Love it, embrace it, be willing to go into it so you can walk into it proudly, and also make sure you can decorate it the way you want it to be decorated. Make sure it feels good, it smells good, make sure it got all the food you want there. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure it's the way that you want it to be, but know that it's going to be better than what it was before. I know you don't like change. I know that makes you feel some kind of way. It almost makes you feel sick to your stomach to think that the stability in which you've built for yourself might now shift a little bit, but I'm telling you that there's so much more to gain if you actually let that old stuff go. You're going to be walking into something that is so amazing. It's going to be that one thing that you always prayed for, but then you got that other thing that you thought you wanted and it really wasn't that. Yeah, it's going to be like that. Think about it. Trust it. Believe it. So those are for my fixed signs. When it comes to my mutable signs, and that's going to be Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, and Pisces. I always forget that Virgo's a mutable sign. It just don't feel right, but I kind of get it, but I don't. But man, I'm telling you. So for when it comes to Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, my mutable signs, there is a lot going on in that space. And the reason why there's a lot going on is because for a lot of you, there's been a lot going on for a while. So for my Gemini and Sagittariuses, y'all are polar opposites, but y'all are kind of carrying similar weight. So Gemini, I feel sorry for you. The relationship thing has been going kind of wacky for a while. I'm not gonna lie. So it's been a situation where you've just started to figure out what it is that you want in a relationship. You're just starting to figure out what it is or what roles you play when it comes to love and relationships. Gemini is that fun-loving, communicative, intelligent, like linguistic kind of playful energy. It's also the joker. It's also that practical, joking, fun-loving individual. It's also that brilliant, very thought-provoking, intellectual individual who can be very manipulative at times, childish at times, when they're not in their highest form. And when it comes to love and relationships, Geminis are the individuals who can be in a space where they don't even realize that they're harming themselves when it comes to a love interest. They could be so focused on what they want that they kind of get blind to how they're loving on someone else. When it comes to money and finances, you guys are actually doing very well. You're growing things, your business is growing, you're developing yourself. I mean, at times things may seem a little rocky, but you seem to stay afloat on things. But when it's coming to relationships, when it's coming to what it is that you thought your world should be, when it's coming to how you're communicating with the people that matter to you, when it's coming to how you're communicating to those you love, your family, your siblings, your loved ones, things are a little bit unclear. You've gotten into a gray space. You've gotten into a space where you're foggy in how you communicate with the people that you're caring about, because for once in your life, you can't really see you that clearly. And a lot of times that has come from the change that has already occurred in your world. So some of us are facing this change. I feel like my Geminis, Virgos, Sagittarius, and Pisces have actually been in this mix of change and whirlwind for quite some time. So when it comes to my Geminis, I ask that you guys take the time to understand that this job is going to be an inside job. While everything may be barely holding it together on the surface, it's your internal world that's making it difficult to actually see through. I'm going to only speak to this for Gemini so y'all understand that Gemini is the vessel. Like, Gemini is literally the Mercury is like the ruler of air, the god of air. So it's like the airwave. So it's like the radio station. It's the line that communicates one thing to another. So Gemini receive information from people, places, and things so naturally that they're just like this empty vessel where they can actually take on any, and then think about it, it's mutable. They can take on any information, send it to you, and keep on going. They're not meant to retain the information, but now they're in a place where they don't know what's real for them versus what's real for everybody else. And that is a very difficult space to be in. They know that they've gotten a lot of information. They start to understand a lot of different things. They're starting to pick up on things that they like and things that they want to experience for themselves, but they're not really clear. What does it mean for me exactly? That's an unfamiliar space for Gemini, and especially when it comes to relationships, because they're in a space where they're trying to figure out, wait, did I do something wrong? Why is these things not working out for me? And they're having a lot of trouble identifying if they did do something wrong or identifying where their shortcomings or opportunities are. I'm going to tell it to you like this. Go internal. Take some time to meditate. Take some time to talk to someone. Take some time to see a professional. This is an inside job. This is something that you have to work on for yourself. You have held it down for everybody else. You've done what you needed to do for the masses. This time, this is about you fully. When it comes to the earth sign of Virgo, Virgo, I'm actually kind of proud of my Virgo people out there. While this energy is not always comfortable, for some of you, for those who have actually built strong foundations leading to the next level in their life, this is going to be such a beautiful harvest season. You guys have put so many works into place. And now if you're feeling overwhelming, it's only going to be from the areas of how much more work do I have to do? But you're now finally in a space where you're feeling pretty good about the work that you've done. You're feeling pretty good about these new relationships, these new connections that you've made. You're feeling pretty good about where you are in business, where you are in life. But things get complicated when there's certain seeds that you've planted that you had a lot of faith in as far as the growth. The investment was a big deal. What was supposed to come of it was wonderful. You had so many high hopes for the prosperity of what this thing would bring. And yet there's this slight concern about, what if I was wrong? Or what if they see that I didn't do this right? Or what if this doesn't work out? Please, please, please kill that negative Nancy thinking. You will destroy everything that you have built by second guessing your own intellect, your own integrity, and also by second guessing what it is that you have put so much time and effort into building. This is not the time to doubt you. And it does not matter who else has doubted you. It doesn't matter what anyone else has said. It doesn't matter what this person is doing. Please stay in your lane, Virgos, and focus on you. You have put so many things into work. You have put so many things into place. You have finally gotten to the space where you could be comfortable enough to love in an authentic, open, expansive way. If you're looking at new relationships, don't all of a sudden try to figure out how to destroy them or end them. Be open to allowing them to grow. Figure out how you can do better in that space. Do not let the negative mind chatter destroy you. It will end all the things that you have actually built. And these things were not built on weak foundation. They were built on strong brick, solid foundation. Do not second guess what you have already put in place, because it is meant for you to prosper. This is all for you to grow. This is for your abundance. So again, Virgo, I know sometimes it can seem overwhelming because you are definitely flowing into this new space with ease. This actual Taurus in Uranus is actually supporting your change. It will be major changes that are happening in your life, but trust that you have the ability to see it through and be successful no matter the outcome. Know that you're meant to learn what it is that you're meant to learn and move forward. Know that you're meant to have the people around you that are going to support your dreams and your structure. Know that you're going to need your soul family so call on them. Don't try to do all of this alone. You have something that is valuable that you're building. So please, please, please move forward in that thing. When it comes to Sagittarius, I feel like it is your time to shine as far as the gurus that you are. You finally come to a place where you're starting to understand your own strengths as your authentic self. My Sagittarius people out there, you guys are the natural teachers because you actually know how to be expansive. You know how to explore the philosophies of life. You know how to eat, drink, and be merry. Eat, pray, love. That is the energy of Sagittarius. You know how to travel, be expansive. You know how to flourish in foreign lands and be diverse in your experiences. At this time, there has been a lot that goes on where you have dealt with a lot of loss, a lot of pain, a lot of heartache, and you're finally starting to look in the mirror and say, I think I know who she is again. Please, please, please know that you are rising above your ashes, because this is your time to shine. It is time to let go and let all that old stuff that once had brought you down. I know that you guys spent a lot of time with Sagittarius in the sign with Saturn, and it had broke everything in your world down. You had to look at things to see what they really were, and you had things that you thought were shiny and full of gold, and they were actually full of poo-poo. you. You know, this is a time period where now you need to embrace what it is that is truly meant for you. You're able to see the forest for the trees. You're able to see what it is that you have gone through and why you had to go through it. You look amazing now. You're breathing. You're living your life. And you know that it is worth so much more than what you thought it was before. You actually have faith in what you're building. You're creating in spades. Your life is passionate. This is not a bad time for you, but you need to be sure to close that door and let it be what it is. Please stop looking back at it so you can tell people what was me and let me tell you what I went through. It's over now. You went through it. Go through the door. Walk through the tunnel. Go through that light. Okay? It's over. So make sure you leave the baggage of what used to be in the pity parties. We don't want no more invitations. Let it go. You are not a victim. You need to choose to be victorious. Otherwise, you will stay in that space that you're not meant to be in because you're actually being pushed forward for you to teach people from your pain. That doesn't mean keep talking about, oh my God, look what somebody did. It means let people see who you've become because you had to go through that thing. Sagittarius, it is your time to shine. It is your time to heal, whether it be in public or behind the scenes, but make sure you heal you. It's important. Do you? My Pisces. So my Pisces people, this has been a lot of work going on in the inside. Okay. So when it comes to Pisces, this is actually a really, I want to say it's a growing time for you. You're learning a lot about you. You're learning a lot about the people that's around you. You're learning a lot about your values, your ethics, what it is that you actually want for you. And this is kind of different from you because you're the idealistic partner. You like to idolize what's going to happen, what's going to grow, how people are going to show up in the world. You like to be that person that feels good, that likes to escape, that likes to be amongst your friends and grow and play and laugh. But this time, this is really about you. You're starting to figure out who you are as an individual, hence the Aquarius lunar. You're starting to figure out who you are authentically. Aquarian energy allows you to figure out who you are outside of everyone else because you're supposed to be a part of humanity. But what makes you that individual in place of the humanity? What makes your puzzle fit in the whole collective? You're starting to look at what makes me unique for me. What has God set out for me? How does God speak to me? So a lot of you are also expanding your intuitive gifts. You're expanding how you actually communicate with your own self-awareness and your spirituality. You're trying to understand why you have certain people, places, and things present in your life, why you go to the places you go, why you are talking to the people you talk to, why you're loving on the people that you love. You're actually starting to be open to loving differently for a lot of you. And I really, really wish all of you well when it comes to August. I hope there is new love waiting for you because you're finally starting to know what you bring to the table, not just what the picture perfect ideal looks like. A lot of Piscean energy likes the idea of the picture. They like to see, how do I fit in? How am I princess like? How can I be abundant within this space without actually recognizing their own personal value and worth? You are valuable as an individual, not somebody with someone else, not the connection with another person, but you as an individual are very valuable. You as an individual bring so much to the table. You as an individual are starting to learn where your gifts lie and how you can bless other people in the space of those giftings. Piscean, it's been very difficult for you to actually maintain in this space because everything that you've always wanted depended on your connection to other people. And in this time period, I would say over the past year or so, some of those connections have been very questionable. There has been a lot of loss, a lot of hurt, a lot of pain that you had to examine. Wait, how is this even real? How is this happening to me? There has probably been quite a few of you that felt like you lost yourself within these time periods, not really being able to comfortably identify, okay, wait, is this about me or is this about somebody else? And you know that Pisces is a natural empath. So you energetically can feel the weight of the world when other people are around you, when you walk into a room, when your friends call on you, when your family calls on you. So that's been, you've been taking on everything from everyone. And this is finally a time where you don't have to take on everything from everyone. This is about figuring out how to serve you. How do you show up? How do you love on you? How do you love on someone else intentionally? How do you build your wealth? How do you connect to your spirit? How do you impress other people based on your gifts, your talents, your skills? How do you impress you? How do you create? These are times where people need to tap into what they are passionate about, because there's so much you can do within that space. So there was a few do's and don'ts I want to go over during the retrograde, because I believe that the retrograde might end, I think, on the 19th. I believe of August sometime. Don't quote me on that. Again, I am an intuitive astrologer, not a certified astrologer. So you need to go and check them websites so they can give you the right dates and times. Now, as an intuitive astrologer, I talk about the energies and how the flow and how it correlates to how we feel in the cosmos. When it comes to your divine blueprint assessment, I talk about you and your connection to your personal being, as you and God created a space that you can actually have a blueprint and a guideline to talk about who you were destined to be, what you were destined to experience, and how God has actually shown your weaknesses so that you can find strength within him. If you haven't gotten a divine blueprint assessment yet, you definitely need to get one. Definitely check out the site. Hit me up on Facebook at victorybychoice.com. Also VBC Spiritual Healing. You could also book there, and on Instagram, we're at Inspire Me VBC and Sade_speaks. Make sure you check that out. But when it comes to Mercury retrograde, there's a few things we don't want to do. But again, when we talk about Mercury retrograde, please be aware this happens 3 or 4 times a year. This ain't nothing to be scared of. I mean, we go through it all the time. A lot of time, there's a lot more buzz about it now because it affects the one thing that we use all the time: our phones, our computers. We got electric cars now. That's a problem. Shoot, if I had a Tesla, what's that? Is that called a Tesla? A Tesla. There you go. If I had a Tesla, every time Mercury went retrograde, I'd be scared if my car gonna start or not. But but that's not what you have to do. Mercury also has a lot of benefits as well. So the things that you should be aware of or focus on while Mercury is retrograde are things like using your intuition versus your logic. Now, this is a big one, because this is a situation where a lot of us feel like logic makes more sense than intuition. We will even downplay someone who says, well, I'm intuitive. Well, let me tell you something. Logic is man-made and taught. You are programmed to believe whatever your specific logical theory is by another person. Your intuition is God-given. Your intuition is something that is innate within you. Your intuition is a survival tool. This is something that we all have. Now, whether we use it is one thing or another. But during Mercury retrograde, you don't want to go with logic, because Mercury is associated with the mind. So therefore, it can make you believe things that are not actually happening the way that you're interpreting it. So trust your intuition, not just your logic. Of course, you want to double check and look at both things, and also, make sure you can reference logical matters, but trust yourself. Actually check in with you. How are you feeling about something? Also, you want to focus on looking at problems or issues from a different perspective, having a new understanding, actually evaluating, why is it that I'm feeling this way about this, or why is this not working for me? You also want to make sure that you are more flexible with your timing. So when it comes to planning and preparing for events, major things, going out of town, preparing for meetings, make sure that you give yourself some wiggle room, because during Mercury retrograde, we don't always end up doing things in a timely manner. Sometimes things are delayed. Sometimes electronics don't work. Sometimes the materials aren't there. So you have to be prepared to handle things in the best way possible. And keep that in mind, because you never know how things are going to go. So make sure you have a plan B, C, D when there's Mercury retrograde. You also want to make sure that you are checking all kind of travel materials before you do so. Okay, so if you know that you're going to be heading out of town, make sure you double check all your locations. Make sure you have all of your IDs, all of that. That's something that you need to do. I know a lot of people say don't travel when there's Mercury retrograde, but of course we have to do what we need to do. So when that's the case, just make sure that you're, double checking things. If you are coming back on the day that you would be going to work, I wouldn't particularly do that. I would make sure that there's a day in between so you have some time to rest and things like that. Another thing that I strongly ask that people do not do during Mercury retrograde is buying electronics, like major electronics, like computer equipment, printers, phones, even Bluetooth. I'm telling you, what you will tend to find, cars. I mean, these are big major purchases. I wouldn't sign for a home. I wouldn't sign for a condo. I'm telling you, if you can't hold out for 3 weeks, it don't need to be done. But nonetheless, if you have a situation like that when you need to do something, make sure, again, you look at the fine print. But the reasons why people say that, and I wouldn't start a business during Mercury retrograde. So let's say you are looking at starting a business. This wouldn't be the time to be like the birth date of the business, typically because they fail, primarily because there was something in the foundation of the business that did not, that wasn't looked at, or they might, I don't know, you might not have all the details, but that's just a common thing that happens. Not only that, you could be looking at buying a car, and the car might work perfectly fine, and then 3 months down the line, you might see that it had a recall that was really major that left you without a car for like a couple of days because you didn't know that this recall was present at the time that you bought it. It's little things that you cannot foresee happening during this time when you make major purchases. Definitely stay away from all impulsive purchasing. When it comes to reconnecting with past loves, here's the thing, take your time. I understand that maybe you wanted this individual to come back. Maybe you always hoped that they would be back in your presence. But let's be clear, there's a reason why the person was gone in the first place. So pay attention to the details. Is it going to work for you? Is the issues that were there before, are they still present? Have you healed from the past wounds? If so, then move forward into a new space, and that could be a great time to reconnect. But this is not the time to all of a sudden get in your feelings about past love that still are not working for you. They're still not choosing you. You're still in a situationship. It's the same thing. That's not what we want to do. You could bring them back to actually get closure, but close it. That's pretty important. So, the other thing that we could talk about is when it does come to Mercury retrograde, is that it's an excellent time for writing. Oh my God. If you have, for any writers out there, this is an amazing time period to put all of your ideas into your book, to actually dedicate your time to writing and developing and creating, especially since it's in Leo. This is the passion and energetic creation sign. So this is an excellent time for writers. This is an excellent time to plan events. So this is actually a good time if you are somebody that is building something that has a wonderful idea. Put it on paper. Matter of fact, during Mercury retrograde, you might have a number of what I like to say God seeds. So that's these vision ideas that come to you like crazy. Write them down, develop them. It might not be something you want to share with everybody right away because you really want to develop it. It is a seed that is meant to be planted so that you can grow it. So I hope that all of these things were helpful. If you've been in your feelings like me, ladies and gentlemen, I know that this energy too shall pass, and I know that you guys have amazing things coming just like I do. I'm looking forward to the month of August. Again, to all of my Leos out there, I wish you well and a happy, 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 happy birthday. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys for tuning in to the Queen's Journey. We are going to be out of here. Make sure you guys, I know I didn't ask for call-ins today, but next week, I'm going to be looking for you guys to tell me what you guys want to talk about, what's going on in the cosmos, how this helped you. I appreciate all my fans out there that have talked to me and told me, hey, this show has really been helping me. I love you guys so much, and we want to do so much more. So make sure in the shows to come, you call in at 440-252-0518. And I think that is our show for tonight. We are at a wrap, and you have a good night.
about to take control. Don't ask, just give me your heart and soul. 'Cause I'm about to do my thing. Play your body like a guitar string. We can soar across the sky. Baby, take my hand, let's